Who came the farthest to be here? Is everybody in Texas? Who's not from Texas? Who's not from Texas? Where'd you come from?
Oh my God, Atlanta.
Atlanta? Oh my God, we're going to give you something. All right, so what we got for Noel? Come on up, Noel. I've got a copy of one of my products, which is called Speak and Make Millions. Whoa! $9.97. And you have a copy of my book, Will the Real You Please Stand Up? In honor of my $2 million deal with Russell Simmons, you get a copy of his book, Russell Simmons, Do You? All right. So the last thing I want to do, honestly, is just we have 30 more minutes, is just to answer any questions that you have as we get ready to part. Anything we talked about on yesterday or anything we didn't talk about today that you want me to talk about, I'm happy to do that in our next 25 minutes. Internet marketing, whatever. Any question you've had that you've been wanting to ask, I'm happy to answer. Yes.
As far as my tow truck business,
Yes.
Finances is the biggest step. If I had the money, it would
Be
be
doing
been
it.
up and running. So where do I find the finances? Like,
Well, you know, I would start building relationships with bankers. I mean, people think you build relationships with bankers to get money like immediately. And so therefore you go to them and you don't get the money. But if you start building relationships with them, like maybe you can start this business in the spring of next year or whatever it is. Get to know bankers. They'll tell you exactly what they need. They'll tell you exactly how you can get money from them. Don't just go to a banker because you want a loan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get to know them. Take somebody. Exactly. I met someone at a networking event, a couple, Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. Just stumbled upon them because my sister was in town, needed something notarized, went in there, went to their event that night, and met someone with Wells Fargo who talked about working with small business owners, and you know, she was great. So I would just get to know people, get to figure out the bank you want to work with, you know, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whatever, and just start nurturing that relationship. And then when it's time to ask for money, you know exactly how to go get money. But I would also use this next year to kind of create your own little stash of money through some of the things we talked about, information products, events, and that kind of stuff. How many of you have a big family? Let me ask you this. How many people are in your family?
I couldn't even tell you. So many.
Are any of them entrepreneurs?
Yes.
So think about this. You know, when you think about your assets, and how I use that word, is the things you have going for you, essentially. We just translated one of my business products into Spanish, because we realized how much money we were leaving on the table by not catering everything I do to that market. Okay? So if you can get people in the room, meaning like we're doing right now, you're very valuable to speakers and coaches, and you see what I mean? So if you have entrepreneurs in your family who I'm sure know people who have other big families, if you can fill a room, you can literally make $10,000 in a weekend with somebody like me. Does that make sense? Yes. So think about your assets in terms of the things that you have going for you, because if you can do that, I mean, you have something really valuable. Butts in the seats are very important to speakers. So something to think about. You can just build your money over the course, and then when you may not need your banker, but you still build that relationship and you know how to do your financials and that kind of stuff. So that's what I would do. Yes. Did I see something hand over here?
What's the best way to start a joint venture? Or how would you come up with a proposal? Or how do you create that relationship, that win-win relationship?
The best way to enter into a joint venture partnership is to be very humble. And when I say that, I mean you are probably approaching someone because they probably have greater assets than you do. They either have a bigger name or they have a bigger list or whatever. So I would consider offering them more than you normally would. You would somebody who's just regular, if you will. You got a list. I'll give you 75% of the teleseminar that we do because I know your people are the people I want. So you're basically paying for your customer acquisition. But you have to consider giving up a little bit more when you're going to joint venture partnerships, because you really want to get in front of that audience. So it's usually a phone call or a letter, depending, it's an email. A phone call or an email just says who you are. And what you're looking to do, and of course what is in it for them, because that's really when they, as soon as you call and say something, they just want to know, okay, yeah, let's get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But you're really focusing there on the lifetime value of that customer to you. Because maybe you'll give up 75% on the front end,
Right.
but goodness gracious, you're getting, maybe that means you get $25 out of a $100 deal. But that means, once you get them, what's that client worth to you? It may be worth a year or two of that client being with you. That could be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $100,000.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about, I've heard both ends of using your name personally as on your website to market your company. Your everything that you have is Fran Harris.
Right.
Enterprise is Fran Harris. So, is it better to do that, or should you market yourself as, come up with a name for the company rather than using your own personal name?
It depends. If you're the main product or service, then it should be your name. If you're the brand, if you're the main brand, it should be your name. If you're, like Coke or Pepsi, then clearly, or with P&G, where there's so many different brands, then that kind of tells you which brand should be out front. But if you're promoting your services, you're speaking, you're coaching, you're whatever, then we need to know who you are. And so you want top of mind awareness to be your name.
Okay. But if you're doing actual like merchandise,
Yeah.
then you want that brand for
Yeah,
that
you
merchandise.
might want that to be the thing that people think of.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll have like Fran Harris's, whatever the brand is. Fran Harris's Millionaire Business School, Fran Harris's Speak and Make Millions. So that way I'm getting both of those. Okay.
And that's easier to sell, right? Because if you decide you wanted to sell like the collegepreneur, you're selling that and not
Fran Harris. Right. Right. Because that's its own thing. It's its own branded, need me, won't need me, or whatever. But the things that I'm personally involved in creating adds a little credibility to it because some people may not know what Speak and Make Millions, what that course is, but they know who I am.
But you can separate yourself easier from college, the magazine, or different things because
It's more of like a separate, it's its own company, as a matter of fact. So, yes.
What about our family name in our business and brand it there for about 11 years, 10, 11 years? Is that a good thing or bad thing?
I think it depends. If it has it worked for you?
That's what we're debating now, whether or not we're going to change it.
We want to get a little like a catchy school name. Just kind of dollar defensive driving isn't really that catchy.
I agree.
So we want something more catchy.
Yeah.
Something that's fun.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep that too because it's tied to so many things right now. So we're going to keep that one, but we're going to add another name.
Yeah, I would come up with something fun, definitely something that has a little bit more cachet to it. But if you want to leverage the fact that you've been in that industry for a long time, you see people who say since 1901 or since I would consider when you're figuring all this out, consider how that factors into it. How long you've been in business? You said like 11 to 12 years? Yeah, people should know that. That's good. Other questions? Speaking of domain names, we got an offer yesterday for this is like 16 pages of domains because I'm a domainaholic, by the way. So I'll have like thousands of domain names. But we got an offer for I've sold probably 10 domain names over the last 3 years, and we got an offer for one of my domain names, which is called Mastermind Webinars. And so they said, would you be interested in giving me your domain name, Mastermind Webinars? And I said, no, but I would sell it to you for $1,000. Now, you guys know how much I paid for that domain name, right?
$8.
$8. And so they're buying it for $500.
You got ripped off. They got you.
$500 I sold. That's a sure you can have. I got 2,000 more domain names. So when you're picking your domain, I buy domain names because I really do plan to do something with most of them, ultimately. But then I will come across domain names that are just so good that I can't believe they're available that I buy them.
I sold one not
exactly.
too long ago for $800.
Yeah.
Hippo Joe.
Fun. It's so much fun.
Dr. Brown, you don't really sell them. Do you go listed on another site or something?
Usually what happens when I sell my domain names is that people go and they look for the domain names that I have, and then you see who owns it, and then they call me. But there are marketplaces that you can literally
List
them. Yep. Any other questions?
Autoresponder.
Yes. Yes or no?
Is that
Yes.
usually, well, I know it's yes.
No.
I know. No, it's yes, but are your autoresponders affiliated or packaged with your web hosting, or did you use a separate company for your autoresponders?
Yeah, go to franrecommends.com. Franrecommends.com.
Another domain.
Franrecommends.com tells you who I use for my autoresponder, which
Okay.
is One Shopping Cart. Franrecommends.com.
Okay.
But no, it's not with my domain hosting. It's a totally different thing. Okay. Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
And also, like you were talking about earlier, your website is too long. It's better to get a redirect to it.
Yeah, exactly. Get a by domain name that is good, short, and then just forward it to the thing that you had up there earlier.
You said you want to touch on backslash, not really.
Yeah, but basically what you want to do is get a domain name that people can just go to soandso.com. And in that way, because you said backslash for your domain name, right?
Well, that's the company.
Right, and it's actually a forward slash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then you got that people not finding you because they really thought it was backslash. So if you just have a domain name, then they just go to that domain name, funfragrances.com or whatever, and then it's directed to that. Okay? Yes, there.
You're emphasizing the domain names, which I absolutely agree with, and there's an underscore to that. If you're in business, if you're thinking about business, if you may be playing in business, and if you're using Hotmail, AOL, or Yahoo, or Gmail as your, quote, business address, why don't you just take the knife and stick it in both your knees and see if it works? Because what you have told people, I'm not really serious about business. I'm playing in it until I might get in business. It's just unconceivable in today's world for $10 that you can buy a domain and the email comes with it. And that is business 1, not even 101. It's business 1 because I see stuff. I'll get solicitation, whatever marketing, and the first thing I look at is when it's got one of those extensions out there, I block it. I'm done. I don't need to read it. They're not business.
So everybody get your domain name, yourname.com if you can get that. It's a good place to start. And I use vanity email addresses like Gmail and that kind of stuff for literal things that I don't want to personally read. But like if I go speak somewhere and 1,000 people are asking me for an email address, I'm not going to give them my email address. I'll give them drfranharrison@gmail.com because then everything in there came from that one thing and I know that kind of thing. So I wouldn't use those for business. I would use the Yahoos, the Hotmails, and Gmails and that kind of stuff for play. Or if you want to segment something. If you want only people who are calling you about this to go to that smallbusiness@gmail.com because that's all stuff that's coming, I would do that. But if you're sending stuff out and doing business and want to be perceived as serious, then you need your own at yourname.com or at yourbusinessname.com. Yeah.
Where do we get that?
You can go to franharrisdomains.com. Fran Harris domain.
So what are you looking for? Any domains? Just shopping for names? Or? No, I think you want your Fran Harris domain. Is that going to help her do a search? I think she's looking for more search.
Yeah. It's GoDaddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reseller account. Yes.
Give us some tips on how to get someone to sponsor something for you.
It depends. Yeah, the best way to get someone to sponsor something for you is to show them that you have an audience that they want to get in front of. That's it. So I have 50,000 names of people who have gotten tickets in the last 5 years. And if I'm an attorney who specializes in speeding, blah, 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 I'm interested in sponsoring them. Does that make sense?
They were our clients.
Okay.
So what about like doing lunch, trying to figure out if you get someone to sponsor the lunch?
Again, if you want me to sponsor something, you got to convince me that the people who are going to see my banner are people I want to be in front of. All right? Because I don't have enough ego to want Fran Harris Enterprises just on your luncheon. But I might want to do that if I know that those 1,000 people or 100 people are interested in starting businesses in the next year. See what I mean? So you got to you got to persuade the sponsor to, you got to let them know that who you're getting them in front of, the brand in front of, is valuable to them. That's it. It's simple. That's it. And if the timing is right and the price is right, you'll get sponsors. It's those two things, timing, price, for what I'm getting. I'll do it.
And the survey dictates that.
Yeah.
Because there's a space that they would, it's set up
To find out. Great. Anything else?
Packaging.
Yes.
You had talked about back in February of, you can audio tape yourself, videotape yourself, have somebody transcribe
Right.
it, so on and so forth. Would you sell those as separate products, or would you sell that as complementary products if this is a package where you can...
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, because I believe in breaking up stuff. You can get the whole Fran Harris Start Your Own Business course, which includes 10 CDs and a transcription and blah, 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 blah. And then I can use those little snippets from the audio to sell people into the bigger course. Yeah. Or use one of the CDs. Tony Robbins does this. He sends me a CD from a 12 CD course. And so I love the one CD so much, and then of course in the package it says if you like the rest of this, order this. And it's very effective. Very effective. Okay? Is that it? Yes.
One question. Would it be fair to say that, I think one of the things that frustrates me was when I'm always talking to people, and I'm a very short-tempered person, if I ask you, what do you do, and you go on, and I really, I don't just close you out. I believe that if you own a business or you're in business, you should have something like a 10-second commercial. If I ask you, what do you do, just tell me, and then, because I just hung the phone up on very professional, I don't know, can't deal with it. I'm just short-tempered. Just when I ask my sister something, she go on and on. I would just hang the phone up. Tell me what you want me to know, because I got this.
So what is your question?
My question is, would it be fair to just, when somebody asks you something, do a 10-second commercial where you just, they know, you know what you want them to know about what you...
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody should be able to do that. Part of the reason you all had 2 minutes and nobody really used 2 minutes, by the way, was so that you could say what you had to say. I gave you this formula for what you needed to do, but most people are really not very good at getting to the point. I'm Dr. Fran Harris. I help small business entrepreneurs who are between $250,000 and $500,000 get to the $1 million level. That's what I do. So, and everybody needs to be able to do that. Now, if you want to elaborate and ask me questions, but literally that's what I do. You know who to bring to me, right? There's no question about who you should be referring to me, okay? So, yeah, you should definitely have that. Yes, last question.
Okay. I'm still kind of confused on this opt-in, like on these emails, on the rules and things out there now. But say, for instance, if I have someone who wants to know about CPA service, they said they put it on their survey, they were interested in knowing more about it. I'm not interested in CPA services. Should I fill that list to somebody else? Because I'm the one that, is that legal to do that?
It is legal to do that. I don't recommend doing that because you're trusting me I'm trusting you with my information. And I personally, this is me speaking, I don't know why you would leave that money on the table. If I say I'm interested in CPA services, if 1,000 people said they're interested in CPA services, it behooves you or Portia to get on the phone and get somebody to do a CPA seminar and get that money. You know what I mean? You're not personally interested in it, but that's the whole thing. Remember about removing yourself from it and let somebody else do it. Your people want that, give it to them. Yeah. Yep. Do you have what? Do I have referral bonuses? Yes. If you refer me for a speaking engagement, literally like if she's going to do with UPS or whatever, then I would pay you what I would pay my agent, which is 20%. Yep. All right. Good job, everybody. Outstanding. Outstanding. So let me ask you real quickly. You guys have been to events where it's like from 8 in the morning to 11 at night. Has anybody ever done that? Have you guys ever done those?
Yeah.
Y'all like those?
No.
Y'all like those? Huh? Okay, I'm just curious because we were talking about, I like the 9 to 4 personally. I appreciate having my day yesterday. But if y'all want to stay till midnight, we'll hook that up for y'all. No? Shantae, are you awake? All right, anyway, thank you all very much for this weekend. It was great. I hope you got a lot of great stuff out of it that you're going to actually implement soon. Yes?
Yes.
All right, great. And so you'll get a follow-up survey from us this week. Along with, if you do that follow-up survey, you will get a link that takes you to some resources and the sample book. If you don't do the survey, you're not getting the sample, you're not getting a whole lot of good stuff. All right? Get a little nugget. All right? Thank you all very much. Have a great week. Thank you.